What in sweet hell was that, Audra?
Surprise! I edited a fun video.
There we go. Welcome to Coffee Talk with Serge, our bi-weekly family-friendly sitcom on must-see Thursday TV, or Tuesday TV, I suppose. We are excited to bring a fun day of activities and news stories, as always, for about 20 minutes. And we'll start off with Audra kind of leading us through the news. We're going to do a deep dive today on some excitement around O-Days. And then our 60-second charity challenge is around the state of security report that Splunk produced. So that is pretty fun. And we're seeing people stream in. Hello to all of our lovely listeners around the world. If you're from Brazil, please give a shout out. Why? Because I'm always fascinated when people say where they're from on the LinkedIn live chats, which is always good. For those of you watching on YouTube, welcome to our second content channel. Very exciting. Smash that subscribe button or something. I don't really know. As always,
how it works.
Yeah, I'm still on Vine. Is Vine a thing? Or I drink wine. I don't know. Anyway,
it's close, right? Wine from the vine.
Wine from the vine. It's good. Audra, what's up first?
Well, so first I wanted to start with an alert from CISA. This is from last week. They released the top routinely exploited vulnerabilities for 2021. And can you both guess what was at the top of the list?
Log4Shell.
Good guess.
Right?
That's what I guessed.
I got one right. Yes.
Log4Shell, of course, disclosed in December, widespread exploitation with that one. There's also proxy logon, proxy shell, both which affect Microsoft Exchange servers. They came in at number 2 and 3 respectively. There's also a vulnerability that affects Atlassian products. CISA pointed out that for most of these top exploited vulnerabilities, the researchers actually released the proof of concept exploit code within 2 weeks of these vulnerabilities being disclosed, which the agency said likely facilitated exploitation by a broader range of malicious actors, is what they said. And I saw a statement from a CISA representative in the record actually asking that in the future, when vulnerabilities are disclosed, that researchers wait at least 2 weeks before releasing this proof of concept, which what do you guys think about the likelihood of that happening?
0 is.
Is there a number that's lower than 0?
Yeah, I think that is as legally binding as TLP. That is my personal belief. I mean, the reason people use POCs, people get their name known. This is how folks get jobs. This is like it's not like now there's an incentive. Like already, the fact that we can even have people like getting stuff out there for like what's it called? Like, we're doing responsible disclosure at all is already as far as I think we're going to get. And so now we're doing responsible disclosure along with responsible POC. It might be a little harder.
I also wish for a pony. If it's a thing,
is that a PWNY, like a pony award?
Exactly. I would like some more perks, please. I need some more Jordans in the background. I think it's a great idea. Right? I think S-bombs are a great idea. I think default MFA is a great idea. These are all things I think are awesome that will never, ever happen in the world we live in currently. So it's a great ask. It's a 0% chance, in my opinion, that it's ever going to happen anytime soon.
Well, I will point out, remember that vulnerability we talked about 2 weeks ago, the RPC vulnerability that Microsoft
won't let me be.
Well, I still have yet to see a POC for that. So maybe they are waiting 2 weeks. Who knows? Or maybe I'll never see one.
Maybe we'll never see one. Or
every day I check Twitter, I see nothing.
It's a state-held secret somewhere.
Oh my goodness! What? Don't stoke conspiracy theories like that. Oh my gosh!
It's a secret. It's a conspiracy.
You weren't on the earlier call. Okay, never mind. It's a whole other thing. But Audra believes there are stockpiles of 0 days.
No, I was saying that I hear people use the reference of stockpiling 0 days, and every time I hear that, I pause. I'm like, are there stockpiles of 0 days?
Yes, next to the ICBMs.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of O-Days.
Right. It's like a big, long warehouse.
It's next to the Ark of the Covenant. Ark of the Covenant PowerShell scripts. It's it's just top men are working on those stockpiles.
Speaking of
Magnati is working
0 days. That leads us right into our next news story. This is a Mandiant just put out, I think last week also, and they identified 80 0 days exploited in the wild in 2021, which is 40% of 0 day attacks in the last decade.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over the words job security. What was that?
Right? I mean, this is, the number just keeps going up. I guess the last year where we saw a record number was in 2019. It was 32 that year. So now we're seeing 80 for 2021. Mandiant says that state-sponsored groups continue to be the primary actors exploiting these vulnerabilities, especially China was at the top of the list of nation states. Actors, and the data shows a third of the actors who exploited 0 days in the last year were financially motivated, which is interesting how that could tie into maybe ransomware. And the exploits they most frequently targeted Microsoft, Apple, and Google products, which are obviously very widely used. So
we're gonna put the old men hat here, Audra, for you youngin. Like, this would have been fascinating had this come out in 2014, because it would have still been like more exploits ever seen before, but it would have been all Adobe. Like the amount of Flash and Java, like especially Flash at the time, like it was all PDF and Adobe Acrobat and Flash over and over again. And it's like the O days were exactly the same, but like one character would be different. It'd be like, well, there we go again, spin up an instant.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to go old. Yeah, back in my day. But this it's an astounding number when you really think about it. We talk about it all the time. I remember 2012-0158. It was a CVE, Microsoft Word document. It was in use by a specific threat actor group based out of a specific country, and it was like all they used, but it worked. But it was 0158. That was the number. There was only less than 10,000 CVEs in a year. And now we're around 23,000, and it's half the year is over. The number, when you think about just CVEs and the 0 days inside of that, friend Ryan McGeehan over at HackerOne kind of has a forecast thing going. And I think the number our trust group predicted was between 30 and 75. I think I picked 71. So the numbers we're seeing, I think they're only going to grow, because when you start talking about things like vulnerability mining, it's just an exponential growth in the 0 days that are able to be created and cultivated.
So if you mine a 0 day, does it go to a 0 day factory and then go into a 0 day ship to go into a 0 day warehouse before being shipped to the victim? Is there a 0 day supply chain?
If there is, then there's a zero day supply chain risk for them. I do believe there are factories involved, but that's a whole other conversation.
I am curious about the correlation and causation, right? Like I once gave a talk, and there's a great website where they do like irrelevant causation and correlation, and one of it, which is like the number of civil engineers who graduate roughly correlates to the amount of cheese production every year in Wisconsin, which I personally love because my father-in-law is a civil engineer from Wisconsin, so just like it lines up. But
it does track.
Are we getting more, like there's just more software, like, and it feels stupid to say this, but like everything has software now. And like, are we shocked? Like, are we shocked? Is anyone shocked? Like, oh, there's more O days for more crappily written code that goes out the door.
That's the thing. And I think therein lies the rub, right? There are more 0 days because there is more software that is being written on a daily basis. However, there is more crappily written software that has flaws inherent in it that is released regularly. So that's when things like an S-bomb come into play. And I know we get all, back in my day, we didn't have S-bomb. We just had weird haircuts and esoteric talks.
We had hair. We had hair.
That's fair. Okay, yeah. But things like S-bombs, that's kind of the way to go. That's what to lean into. Would that reduce the number of 0 days or the number of overall vulnerabilities? I really think it would.
I think so. I don't know if it reduced vulnerabilities, but I think it would reduce the risk to an organization, because they'd be then determine how susceptible they are to known things. Because right now, there's more days than ever before, but like people may not know if they're impacted because they don't have a software bill of materials to go back through and verify, like, oh, there's been 27,000 vulnerabilities this year. Let me see how many I'm impacted by. And I think that's an issue. It's good work, though. I do love the work that Mandiant has put out around things like this, and they're always in a great place with great telemetry to be able to look through. So,
It's always interesting when you put numbers on it. And I guess we're not going to run out of 0 days anytime soon, I guess is the
Not in the warehouse. That's why we
message.
have the 0 day stockpile. It's actually in a salt mine in St. Louis. Little known fact. We have to keep them
A
at
salted salt mine.
Oh gosh. All right, moving on.
Yes.
They serve
Come on.
hash
We could do
in
this
the
for
diner
days.
above it. It's
It's really, really, it's meta. It's meta. So you're going to see 2 spinning Jordans in the back.
that's
Okay, moving on to your favorite topic, Mick, of ransomware. We have another story. This one is about REvil. You may have thought that they were gone, but now there's indications that maybe they're back. You don't know for sure, but their Tor sites, they're now redirecting visitors to URLs for a new unnamed ransomware operation. Now, this is a report from Bleeping Computer. They say these new sites, they contain a mix of victims from previous ransomware attacks, which indicates that this could be an REvil operation. You might recall the ransomware group, it was shut down last October after law enforcement hijacked their Tor servers, and then Russia, in a surprise move, arrested a number of REvil members. And so that was kind of unprecedented coming from Russia. But given the current situation with the war in Ukraine, it looks like those negotiations are no longer in play between the US and Russia. I don't know for sure, but Russian media is reporting that those negotiations broke down after the invasion of Ukraine. So definitely an interesting update. What?
I can't imagine what they're doing right now. I mean, what are they up to, you think? Just,
Maybe
things?
the internet's not working. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just getting rerouted somewhere else. Who knows? Who knows? It's, we may never know, really. I think as far as the ransomware goes, if not them, it would be someone else. I think it might rebrand under a different name, but if there's a new strain underneath the same umbrella, it would be like when Pepsi came out with Pepsi Clear, and everyone was like, "This isn't really that great," and they were like, "All right, yeah, we're still Pepsi, right?" And it's the same thing, and everyone still loves Pepsi so much. I drink Pepsi every day, but I think that the new ransomware strain, like if it tries to rebrand with a new family under the same operation, under the same
This
kind
goes
of
back to
warehousing.
like ransomware, though, right? Like, it's not like they took down the developers; they took down the affiliate network that it was hosted. So at the end of the day, the ransomware people who are developing it are still there. And like, how are they going to bring this across? Where are they going through there? Like, it doesn't matter that you take down the affiliate website. This is kind of, not to Hydra this, but like cut off one head, you're gonna have 3 more pop up because this is an active thing. It's dispersed. There isn't a leader.
But there is an overarching tool set, right?
Yeah.
And if you go back and go in the Wayback Machine, think of, I want to say the Quartermaster Sunshop stuff that Ned Moran did way back in the day, where, hey, there is one person writing a toolbox and everyone buys it and kind of reuses it and kind of changes it a little bit. But there's nothing you can really do. Once an affiliate is rebranded or affiliate changes names, it's going to be something else, right? So there's affiliates you're stopping. I don't think the overall problem gets solved.
There was a talk, Mudge, when I was back at DARPA, he did a talk and it was talking, like, basically went over how much code it takes to do malware versus how much code lines it takes to write a defensive network, right? It was something like the average piece of malware has like 1,000 or 500 lines, and like the average software for defense has like 1.9 million. But there was more to the talk, and part of it was just around, at the end of the day, there aren't actually that many people writing innovative 0 days, right? And this is the thing, like, there aren't that many people writing actually innovative malware. There aren't that many people writing innovative ransomware.
But it goes back to, do you need to, right? We talk about going back to that 0158 exploit or MS 067 way back, 08067. These are not hard exploits to write, but you don't need to because they shut up. It's a wheelchair now. It's a rocking chair. But like the exploits you need to use, low-hanging fruit doesn't change because we don't patch, we don't take inventory, we don't do those basic hygiene steps. So, self-licking ice cream cone, I guess. Again, job security.
So this is one of the interesting parts about the 0 days, which I guess this is something where like my lack of knowledge shows is around APIs, right? Like, that's another big part of this is with the new world of API-driven connectivity, like, you just have a lot more access points into things. And we saw this with, never victim blaming, of course, but Kaseya, right? Like the fact that that was an open vulnerability that then, was API driven for the back end that then people were able to push ransomware down into. Like, there's also just innovative ways of getting in and doing things that weren't perhaps there 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, like Bluetooth.
Yeah, like Bluetooth or QR codes. Who would ever use QR codes?
The targets, they can be, small, medium-sized businesses. It doesn't have to be a large organization. The stories that we see in the news about CISA or, Colonial Pipeline, it could be, the store down the street, and
well, you were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, Audra, like back when you were a journalist. Like, there's a sense of like, at this point, there's so much rampant like ransomware attacks. Like, you're only hearing about the things where children are dying in hospitals or my gas price went up. It's not the everyday, this is just what exists.
Which for the smaller businesses, it could be, an existential threat. It could completely put them out of business if they're hit with ransom and they don't have backups. And,
we usually, Mick and I, especially, when we work at Splunk, we tend to work with some of the Fortune 100, Fortune 1000, but we have people here who came from MDR or MSSP vendors, and their daily bread and butter is not anything to do with China or Russia from a nation state point of view. It's just yet another ransomware day. So not a big surprise that we did, we tried everything and everything didn't work. And now we're just back to REvil 3.0, and it may be the same people or it may not. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Yeah, I think starting a ransomware affiliate is easier than starting a startup.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting funding might be easier, right?
Well, like, exactly how, Mick? Like, we'll talk off.
Oh, yeah.
I'll send you a PDF.
Yes,
I'll open it you
on my corporate machine.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And there's a lot of overlap, right? I mean, you could work with Conti, you could work with REvil, you could kind of work with whoever you want.
I mean, I think people do when they're working. I think Liz brought up earlier the ransomware as a service, right? That affiliate network.
Exactly.
So, well, there we go. I'm sure we'll talk about REvil again in 2 to 4 weeks.
Or whatever else they're called now. It's like Prince, the artist formerly known as. I have a little thing painted right here. And
okay. Well, what's going on? What are we doing in the world of Splunk for the next 2 weeks, y'all?
Well, Coffee Talk with Kovar, is that on the agenda for this month with the threat research?
Yeah, we're going to be doing, we did one last week where I telephoned in my presence like a ghost, even though I was on vacation in Spain, eating lots of jamon and drinking wine. We did a Coffee Talk with Kovar with Shannon about ransomware. And then in a couple of weeks, we are going to be doing another ransomware deep dive, this one with Mauricio from our threat research team, the wonderful Splunk threat research team, where we're going to be diving more into the detection side and just how our products and what we do there and their kind of thought process for going through. So we're going to hit both sides, left of boom, right of boom, and then boom. So that should be pretty good. We'll be doing that in about a week or so. Got to record that, get it in the can. So we are going to RSA. Mick, myself, Audra, a whole bunch of folks will be there. We might have some special events happening. We might not, as I've recently found out, depending on scheduling. But we will keep folks updated in the Twitters and on this lovely Coffee Talk series. Coffee Talk. So always a
lucky
changing
you.
venue.
I get to hang out with Shannon, our crown prince of ransomware, on the 24th, and we're bringing on Sydney Howard, one of our threat analysts here at Splunk, and we're going to talk more about the ransomware research. And Ryan, I think you and I know it happens soon, and someone's going to get mad at me, likely you. We're going to talk about the state of security soon, aren't we?
We absolutely are. The state of security report that Splunk did, we had a whole thing. Splunk did some research. We worked with a third party, a whole bunch of numbers, and we're about to talk about that for a deep dive. There we go. There it is. Well done, producer Drew.
Yeah. So one of the things I found really interesting from this report, and there's a lot of really, really interesting data if you want to read through about all kinds of different topics. But for me, I really wanted to talk about the talent crisis, I guess, finding enough people to fill jobs, especially bringing in maybe more entry level, which I say since, I came into Splunk at a more entry level. How do we bring people in when that seems to be such a challenge? It said, that 30% of security leaders say they can't hire enough staff to handle the workload. 35% say they can't find staff with the right skills. 23% say both are a problem. So that's, that just kind of goes to show how widespread this is. And so I wanted to ask both of you for the 60-second challenge today. What do you think needs to be done to address this, to help try to bring in talent for security teams? What do you think we're currently lacking? So I guess, should we start with Mick this week with what you think the solution is here?
I like that.
All right. Well, so our charity first. Drew, do the countdown with our charity first, then we'll come back to it.
Gotta get the.
And now, Splunk's Cybersecurity 60-second charity challenge. Remember the rules. You've got to get through an entire subject in 60 seconds, or you donate to today's charity of choice. Good luck.
Man, when I made that graphic, I did not think nuclear holocaust was going to be on the agenda. 2021 was bad. Anyhow,
It's a little different.
Well, if the leopards didn't eat my face.
I effed around and found out. Did not expect that. There we go.
All right. Well, should we say what charity we're doing first?
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. Well, it is the Asian American Foundation, because May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So that is the charity of choice for this week. And I guess we'll start with Mick then, if you want to give your solution to the talent crisis.
Okay. All right. So I think when you look at the Splunk State of Security report, there was 79% had a ransomware incident they responded to, and over half reported business email compromise. And that's burnout. It's going to lead to projects failing. And a third of those respondents had an insider attack as well. So, more controls are coming. So there is no one-size-fits-all solution, and I wish there was. I'm lucky enough, for whatever reason, to have a voice, to be in a role where I can influence people and create opportunities for others. And I know I'm not the only one that finds himself in this new position, kind of when you get more advanced in your career and have that voice. So to create those opportunities for others that I didn't have, to create those teams that I wish existed when I was just starting my career, I think that's what we're trying to do here at Splunk, and I think other companies and other teams are doing that as well. So in closing, more of that, hire more people, more diverse people, more voices, and the talent pool will grow. Address burnout, because burnout's always going to be real. That's pretty much what I'm going to say.
All right, right on time.
All right, let me see what we can do here. So one of the big things I am passionate about is hiring new to cyber. I've done a lot of volunteering. I've worked, the SANS New to Cyber Summit, various things like that. And one of the things I truly believe is we've maxed out the current pipeline, which I know perhaps is not the most popular thing to say, which is that there is a pipeline problem for bringing more people in, because we've intentionally kept the pipeline at a small diameter. So what we have to do is, instead of thinking of pipeline, we need to think about how to have a bigger reservoir to feed that pipeline. And that's where I think we should put more effort in, is looking into areas that are not traditionally reviewed for cybersecurity talent. I'm a huge believer that the humanities is a place where we can scoop up people who can synthesize and think through data, and that we can actually get them into positions. And part of the reason is, in today's modern software security environment, where there's not the need for the raw skills that I had to do of a PCAP analysis test. I think there's a lot of tools now that actually assist people to synthesize and review the data that's at the junior level to build up their skills while they go through. And that's how we solve the problem.
All right. I guess I'll put it to the comments if anyone wants to help me pick the winner.
She's dodging. You hear this, Mick? The way she's dodging now? This is
I
just
know,
like...
I know.
I'm afraid to pick a winner. I always pick the wrong person, apparently. So,
but that's how voting works, right? No matter who you pick, it's going to be the wrong person. That's
But
exactly what we have.
About the elections for the last couple of years.
It's not about who won, Audra. It's about your MBOs, really. And I think,
according to the producer Drew in the background, once again Mick has won. We're not getting anyone in the comments.
I think I'm going to agree with Mick winning. Although, Ryan, I do appreciate what you had to say about the humanities, since I come from a journalism background. I do think that there are some skills people can bring outside of cyber into the industry that are valuable.
There we
so
go.
I might be a little biased there. But yeah,
I mean, the comments are rolling in here.
I mean,
But
we
okay.
can go with the not the humanities types, but the no degrees types. I think can be just as successful in cyber. It's really just
There we go.
another day. Another day we'll talk about it. But I think that the votes came in. Already won. No backseats. No backseats.
I mean,
We don't do that
everyone with
here.
an undergraduate degree on this call, raise their hand.
Wait, has an undergraduate degree?
Yeah,
I have one.
there you go. 1 out of 2.
Who has a master's degree or a doctorate?
Okay, but I don't
Okay,
have
what?
an
Wait,
undergraduate
Brian, your
degree.
hand's not high enough.
Listen,
Just
I
some
don't have an
weird
undergraduate degree.
UK bylaw. What? I don't even know how that works.
It's oldie timing. Well, Audra, we're going to do a quick deep dive here, and because we still haven't figured out how to gracefully exit you, just disappear. Just be gone with you. Just roll
Bye,
off
guys.
the screen. Oh, there we go. That worked out
Right.
well.
Thank you, Drew. That was quick.
That was quick. That was good. So we have some things around O-Days, and we kind of touched on this already. We're not going to do too far into it because apparently we had quite the rambling chat today at 26:55 seconds. So why do you think it is harder to create O-Days or not?
I don't think that it is, or I think it's getting easier. How about that? You and I have had this conversation a few times, and the term vulnerability mining has come up more than once. And that concept, when you look at, and again, no victim blaming, no victim shaming. You look at the stuff Microsoft last year with the RCEs, on the Exchange side, there was one, and then shortly after there was another, and there was another. And they were just slight variations of each other. And I think with vulnerability mining, what you're able to do is kind of pick apart source code in an automated fashion and exploit vulnerabilities and find vulnerabilities that much faster, right?
I agree. Audra talked a little bit about the vulnerability warehousing, and like that 100% happens, right? Like people create O-Days, they use them when they have to. Like, is it thousands? No, but like absolutely, if someone finds a good O-Day that's hard to find, it's a balancing act though, right? Like if you drop it immediately and you don't have a great area to drop it into, like you've just lost a lot of work and they're expensive to create. But like at the same time, if you hold on for it too long and someone patches it, then
it's worthless.
It's worthless, right?
And I remember someone had posted, I saw it a few days ago, maybe it was yesterday, it was a forever time, is time. About all of the companies out there who are writing these exploits. Well, it's not just researchers or individuals. These are corporations out there who, that's their game. That's how you make coin, is to write vulnerabilities. And that market is growing as well. And you and I have also had the conversations, with the rise of ransomware affiliates and the money behind the ransomware affiliates, why wouldn't I buy a 0-day and just use it to target ransomware?
100%. I mean, if you're making millions of dollars as a ransomware affiliate, like why invest? Like this is the entire this is offshore development, right? Like pay a consultant who focuses on that to do it rather than do it yourself because you're making money from a different revenue stream. Like that's the thing. I think as I've gotten older and I've seen more of the world for cybersecurity and less around the nation state to nation state, the economy and the economics of hacking is what fascinates me. It's the
absolutely.
There's a talk that I haven't given yet that I've done the research on. I call it the axis of mild evil. And it's all about like, if you are a country that the US cannot sell software to because of ITAR or something like that, like Iran, Cuba, like how do they legitimately buy software? How do they get Microsoft licenses? How do they get, and if you look on Microsoft forums, you'll see things like people are like, oh, I'm a sysadmin in Cuba and my Exchange server is down. Can someone help? And they're helping. And like, that's wonderful, but legally they're not supposed to have that server.
Right.
And but there's third-party markets set up in countries that are friendly to both that are selling this. And that's at a high level. Like there's business development, third-party affiliates to sell to countries that can't legitimately get American software.
Well, anyone in the vendor world is not going to be unfamiliar with a reseller market, right? So this is just an extension of that, but a gray market, right? It's where it's not legal, or it's legal if you have a license, but we'll sell it to you anyways. I know there's other markets that exist like that, but I'm not sure. It's kind of the same.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's yeah. it's a weird world that we're not going to be able to solve, and we're at time because we hate to go over time. So thank you always for joining. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more shenanigans and excitement. As we said, we should have a coffee talk with Kovar special edition with the threat research team of Mauricio. And until then, I think we'll see y'all later, and farewell. Drew, take us away.
Following seas.
Alonzo.